What could have been? Was Rodgers really the missing piece? And what might happen? Flacco leading another AFC North team to the playoffs in 2023?
Join us as we break down this amazing primetime matchup. We will give you some in-depth analysis as well as some game scripting to help you create the best possible lineups in the shortest amount of time.
Welcome to DFS Insights. I'm David Geistlinger, and I'm joined by my cousin David Grant Jr. The teams up on the block are the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. But before we go ahead and get over to this game overview, we're going to go ahead and give a quick recap of our Sunday Night Football lineups. So how did your Patriots Broncos lineups do for you?
Yeah, I did. I fortunately did not go too crazy on the Denver New England matchup. I am sad to say that the majority, if not all of my lineups, did not make the money. Let's just say I didn't see that game script happening. I did happen to watch the 49ers versus Ravens game last night, and let's just say that also did not make for the best Christmas for us diehard 49er fans out here. Hopefully Santa Claus was a little bit nicer to you.
Yeah, not for the New England Browns game. I kind of had scripting a little bit different. Even my script with New England winning didn't hit on all cylinders. I did put out there that Mike Jasicki was a decent, play for Hunter Henry when he went out, and he did end up getting a touchdown, so hopefully that helped people out. 49ers Ravens, I watched it. I did have a lineup with the Ravens winning. It did at least make me go break even. Unfortunately, I was battling the guy who had Tucker, and I had the Ravens defense, so I was going a little bit up and a lot down towards the end. Sam Darnold decided he wanted to try to become MVP there at the end. But anyways, enough of that. Let's go ahead and hit over here to this game overview and see what we can try to get going this week. I can start if you want.
Yeah. Kick. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
So yeah, as stated, we got the New York Jets here at the Cleveland Browns. Jets officially, mathematically eliminated from the playoff contentions. Browns are still fighting for a spot. I believe the Ravens hold the top spot currently in the AFC North. Looks like the Browns are favored, which shouldn't be a shock to anybody with the Jets, defense. That backpack's not big enough. Their offense is just terrible. Browns seem to be pretty run heavy. They got two decent running backs. We'll discuss later on. But they were actually pretty bad. They were kind of in the similar boat as the Jets with their defense kind of holding them, and shocking that Flacco comes into play, and it's looking like prime Flacco from the Ravens. So
I know.
that it's nuts that I'm sitting here in 2023 doing a podcast talking about Joe Flacco. And it would only make things better if it was Rodgers versus Flacco. That would probably just be the icing on the cake for this game. But obviously I think this is going to be kind of a grind out defensive game. I'm going to be scripting a little different. We'll talk about that. That's just to be contrarian, but I think the defenses are going to, hold it. The over-under sitting at 36. I could possibly see it going over that just because I'm kind of on the Flacco train right now. But yeah, how do you see it? I mean, I'm not really too impressed with the offenses. I'm obviously more impressed with the defenses here. So
yeah, that's kind of been my conclusion with the research I did earlier today. I'm definitely going to be. You and I have covered quite a few of the Jets
Yeah, the
games,
Jets, yeah,
unfortunately.
crazy.
And I've watched each one of those, and man, and it's let's just say, knowing how good the Cleveland Browns defense is, I'll be having a lot of the Cleveland Browns defense in my lineups. Um, scripting it being a low-scoring game, I could see that as well, because I mean the Jets, their defense is also nice. So I mean, I could definitely see that. Both these guys are on their second and or third string quarterbacks. Um, so it's, yeah, should be interesting for sure. Is the spread, because I believe what I'm looking at up here, maybe.
Is that the wrong? Oh boy, that's the
Yeah, I
wrong.
think.
That's the wrong overview. I was looking at the right one. Shoot, sorry guys.
Oh,
Oh boy, I
yeah,
messed that up.
yeah, that's all good. I was like, Russell Wilson.
No,
Okay,
because it's my bad. It's on my other screen, so I pulled up a photo on my
okay.
thing, so I'm talking to the audience, and I'm looking at the correct one. I apologize. Holy crap.
All good. Okay, so now I'm seeing some better stuff here. So, yeah, the spread. Ooh, the spread's by a touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean that's obviously, the. Uh, I haven't. Well, I'll be honest. I haven't seen the Jets offense with Trevor Siemian. So, I mean, that should be. I mean, interesting. I've seen Trevor Siemian play. So,
Hmm.
it doesn't get any worse than Zach Wilson. I don't think I've ever seen a worse quarterback play. Possibly Jamarcus Russell, the Nick's name that comes to mind, but yeah, I see this as a, like you mentioned, a low scoring, grind out type of, defensive game. It'll be what defense can score the most points, and I can almost promise you there'll be a defensive touchdown in this game, if not multiple.
Nice. All right, let's before I mess up another freaking slide, we can move over and start breaking down these players. I think I got this slide right. Let's make sure. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, go ahead. You can start off the QBs here.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting over to my sheet. And yeah, we got Mr. Joe Flacco. I mean, who's been coming in and crushing it. Um, since my my new trackpad's being a little weird, thankfully I got my iPad here in front of me. We got Mr. Flacco. I mean, dude, he has a minimum of 42 pass attempts since he's come in. He played for the whole month of December. 44 attempts, 45, 44, 42, and 250 yards, 300 yards, 374 yards, 68 yards. Um, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. Now, there are some interceptions there, couple fumbles, but at least, I mean, hey, he's out there, man, and him and Amari Cooper have been doing it. So, I am. I definitely will have some exposure to Joe Flacco, obviously, and he's definitely the preferred pick out of the two quarterbacks that are there. Trevor Siemian, he's only really played. I don't know if he played in that full Atlanta game or not. Judging by the attempts, I would think he probably didn't. Um, so he's played Miami and played Washington. And at 13-5, man, I, I don't know what to expect. And I just know that from what I've seen with the Jets offense, they have two great players, Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall, and other than that, they don't really have anything. So I will not be targeting a whole lot there. What are your thoughts on the quarterbacks?
Yeah. Yeah. So Trevor Siemian, yeah, he's hasn't been that great. I mean, he did throw for a ton against Washington, and they did just squeak out, against Washington, which one is surprising, but Washington is also a disaster of a team. So for him, I mean, that's almost 50% completion. I mean, one touchdown, one interception, one fumble. Yeah, he's only projected 11 fantasy points. So for 13.5, that's not too promising there. This would be, a pretty gutsy play, maybe a tournament play. He's gonna be probably loan owned, especially MVP, and just you never know if he does have that breakout game, which very unlikely, but there is a chance. Yeah, it's like the Cleveland does give up about 1.5 TDs. They're 23rd ranked against the passing, and they're third against for yards, only giving up about 187 yards to quarterbacks. So yeah, like I said, it's not looking promising, but if he can get a decent game, 250, maybe 2 touchdowns or so, and get you that 16, 18 points, I think that would be a pretty good tournament play, because he will be, I have a feeling he will be low owned. Whereas Flacco sitting at 16.5, I have a feeling he will be higher owned. He's projected 13 points only, which is weird since he's basically hit over 20 fantasy points in every game except the first one. Yes, I know, 19.86. I'm rounding that up to 20. So he was in the optimal lineup last week. So maybe he does it 2 weeks in a row. However, Jets are basically first down the line against quarterbacks. Basically less than a touchdown a game, less than 150 yards a game, and only limiting to him about 27 attempts. So they are pretty vicious against QBs, but I mean, he's dang near, 45, mid 40s, passing attempts. So, and it looks like they're for decent yardage. I mean, what's that?
Yeah,
30, you're a little over 10 yards a pass. It looks like 27 and 368. So yeah, he's doing work. I was surprised when, someone reported him, seeing him on the plane, heading over to the Browns. Everybody's like, Flacco. But
yeah,
he has those. I don't know if people pay attention to his incentives, but he gets a huge chunk of change every division playoff win he gets, or making the playoffs, then each win, and then he gets like, I don't know, is it $1 million or $2 million if he wins the Super Bowl or something. So there is huge incentive for him doing well, obviously, but I think he'll be obviously the higher owned of the quarterbacks, and he'll be pretty decently owned if I'm not, if I had to take a guess on the ownership of this. Moving down to the running backs, there's 3 decent running backs on this slate, starting with the Jets. Brees Hall is probably their one glimmer of hope there.
Yeah.
He's been an optimal last 2 out of 3 games. As you can see, 37, 20, 23 fantasy points. He did destroy Washington, almost 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he got 16 targets for 96 yards. So I believe that was like with Trevor Siemian, they were just playing the little check down game, and he got used and abused. But it looks like he made the best of what he had. As far as the backup for them, I'm going to drop all the way down here I'm going to skip over. I forgot who it was, but Where'd he go?
Israel
Yeah, that's
Abankanda.
who I was looking for, but I don't.
He,
Right there we go.
he's questionable.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
limited in practice. He's gonna play. I think he's wide receiver. He was RB3
uh,
behind Dalvin Cook, so I think now
yeah.
Dalvin Cook's done. They moved him up to running back 2. So if I was him, I would get over that ankle injury and get out there and get some snaps in. Because you need to make a team, right? You need to get out there and show them. So at 7K, he's not a bad play, but just keep in mind, Brees Hall is a beast, so he won't be getting too many snaps unless this game kind of gets out of hand. Moving over to Cleveland's, you got Jerome Ford coming in. He's been doing okay, pretty decent. Getting the rushing attempts 15, 8, 12. They do yeah, I guess Jets do give up. They're not as great against the run as they are against the pass. They're 32nd, giving up over basically a touchdown a game to the running backs and over 105 yards, 26 there. They did. They gave up 29 fantasy points to Washington. The Jets did. And then they also gave up 25 combined points against Minnesota. So I think he has potential here to have a 20-plus game. Looking back, he hasn't really hit that since like week 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I think that's they're more of a running back by committee with Ford and Kareem.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, and that seems to from the research I was kind of doing, it seems like Ford does get more of the red zone looks, at least from what I saw. But it really could be, either one of them could go off because they seem to get equal amount of touches.
Yeah, the only thing I have an issue with is Kareem being he is, on paper, the RB2. He does get the runs, but with a salary of 9,500, like he seems to be a touchdown or bust. Now, mind you, he's had a touchdown in 2 of the last 3 games, but even then, with that 10 carries, 27 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 target, didn't even break 10 points, 8 points fantasy. So, you're definitely at 9,500. You're hoping he gets a touchdown, which obviously the Jets have a weak run defense, so it is definitely possible. So out of those 4, Brees Hall, I believe I'll probably be a little bit heavier on than any of them, and then I'll sprinkle them in. Just Kareem Hunt's salary, if he was like 8,500, 8K, I'd be a little bit more of him, but at 9,500, it's going to be hard to justify that, So
yeah. Then now, if you are game scripting that it is a low scoring game, he may only need, that those 8, that touchdown and 20 yards in a low scoring scenario. But yeah, I'm pretty much with you. I'll have more exposure to Brees Hall out of all running backs that are available. And then, as you mentioned, I'll be sprinkling in some Ford and some Kareem Hunt. I don't really see a world where I have Ford and Hunt on the same lineup. Sometimes I've looked to try that, and the only time that's ever worked out for me was with Miami, with Mozart and Avance. They both had like 30 fantasy points and 25 like each. It was wild before the one guy went out for the season, which sucks. That really sucks for them. But anyway, we could kind of hop over to the wide receivers. Amari Cooper. We got Amari Cooper at 14.5. the resurgence of Amari Cooper, shall I call it, the last couple games here. Um, he's got, going back to just 3 weeks ago against Jacksonville, 14 targets, 77 yards. He did have a fumble, but then against Chicago, 8 targets, 4 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown. And then he followed that up with 15 targets, 11 catches, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Let me repeat that. 15 targets, 11 catches, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, if you're wondering who Joe Flacco likes to throw the ball to, it looks like his name is Amari Cooper. The other person is Njoku, but he is a tight end, and we'll get there. Obviously, the game log trolls, everyone's going to have a piece of Amari. And again, the Jets have great defense against the pass, so it might be interesting to make a move somewhere else. He will be super chalk, at reasonably so, but this could be one of those games. Yeah, I could see the game script of this where, fading Amari and being contrarian would be a smart move. I know he's been in 2 of the optimal lineups out of the last 2 games. But again, that was against Chicago and against Houston. Getting down to Garrett Wilson at 11.5. He's got 5 red zone targets in the last 3 games. They definitely like to go to him in the red zone. His snap count is significantly gone up from averaging around 55 snaps to 86. That I really like that, especially at 11.5. So I'll definitely have me some Garrett Wilson. Elijah Moore, he's at 8K. Not really sure how much exposure I'll have to him. He's been doing all right, but nothing really jumping off the board. Then we got wide receiver 3, Cedric Tillman. He's coming in at 7,500. He's projected for 2 fantasy points. Obviously, if that's what you have him projected at, then I would not play him because, I don't think I need to say much more there. Going down to wide receiver 2 for the Jets, we got Xavier Gibson. He's been, I haven't seen him in the red zone much, and again, I've seen quite a bit of the Jets games. So he seems like a guy that kind of gets him down the field, but not getting too many targets in the red zone. He is 7,500. Man, it's tough. If you need to throw a cheap guy in there like him or Jason Brownlee, their wide receiver 4 at 7K. Those are both dart throws. I am looking at the Jason Brownlee. It says he also got a snap count increase from playing no snaps to playing 74. So let's just say going from no snaps to playing what sounds like the entire game just about will give him a lot more opportunities to see what he has out there. So at 7K, that might be a good guy to have in a couple lineups because the Jets obviously want to see what he can do if they're going to put him out there like that. And if I'm going down any further, I'll let you take it kind of from there. But what are your thoughts on the wide receivers?
Yeah, I'll kind of rehash that. Yeah, Amari Cooper. Obviously, can't deny that Flacco targeted the crap out of him last time. Optimal, like you said, last 2, at least 8 targets in the last 3 games. 4 red zone targets, 2 catches, One ended up in a TD, so one was obviously outside, or 2 out of the last 3 touchdowns he got in the last 2 games were one was in the red zone, the other 2 were out. But yeah, I mean, he's projected about 10 fantasy points, which is a little weird. But at the same time, Jets are, locked down, only giving up less than, half, 0.3 touchdowns in the last 9 games to receivers and less than 100 yards total, so 95. So I can clearly see why. If I was the Jets, I would have probably Sauce Gardner and, on him, playing him, being their number one. So, I mean, if that's the case, maybe, Sauce Gardner's, name maybe, veers Flacco away, but, we'll have to see who's going to win that matchup. And I think if obviously Amari can, then he'll probably have another big game. Moving down to Garrett Wilson, I think unfortunately, looks like him and Trevor had a decent connection last game, so hopefully that continues. Maybe he'll find the end zone. I can only imagine how frustrated he is. Very talented receiver, just got the raw end of the stick there with Rodgers going down in 4 snaps, So, I agree with those. Obviously, they're going to be, probably the most owned out of all the receivers. Like you mentioned, too, Elijah Moore. I think he's not too bad of a play. He does seem to be getting targets. Just needs to be a little bit more handsy catching them. I don't know if they were his fault or what, but there is potential for him to have a decent game. But yeah, he hasn't really shown too much in the last few. Tillman, he did have I believe he did. Yeah, he's basically a touchdown or a bust kind of a player, wide receiver 3. Gibson, which is weird, it doesn't show he had a touchdown, but if you look back at the Atlanta game, he actually did have a rushing touchdown. So they kind of use him like, Green Bay does Jordan Reed, or I'm not comparing him to Deebo Samuels, but kind of like that. They use him as part of the run game, or they at least did. So he did have a rushing touchdown. Well, actually, I lied. It was in Houston's game. That looks like where he had it. Yeah, 1 target, 3 yards, and he had 7 points. So it was there. So there's potential there if you want to do that. Jason Brownlee looks like he got a lucky 8-yard catch against Washington. Got the touchdown there. It's just hard because we don't have too much data on Trevor. So obviously you think he's going to be pinning that number 1 receiver, and then obviously Breece Hall was his check down. Go ahead. I mean, between Trevor Siemian's 49 pass attempts, Breece Hall and Wilson had 31 of them. So that's insane. So just think about that. The only other player I want to mention, just because David Bell from Browns, he did have, against Jacksonville, he did have 1 bomb, 1 catch, 41 yards for a touchdown. That's a shot in the dark there. He doesn't seem to be getting too much. However, if you did notice that literally none of the receivers that Aaron Rodgers brought in from Green Bay, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, are even in the lineup or mentioned. As an avid Green Bay fan, I'm kind of disappointed in that, but at the same time, Randall Cobb, was great in his prime. I think it's a few years past that, unfortunately. And then Allen Lazard, I never, to be honest, thought he was a great wide receiver 1.
Okay. As long as if you're gonna go there and say wide receiver 1, but I mean, I've seen him make some freaking great plays.
Well, I mean,
for sure.
If he makes 1 or 2 great plays but messes up 50 other ones.
He has not looked like Allen Lazard, obviously, of Green Bay.
No, well, even in Green Bay, I wasn't too fond of him. I mean, it was okay. I mean, he was in the blocking game, which is okay. I get it, but like, you're at the end of the day, you're a wide receiver. Your job is to catch the ball when you need to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Catch the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's that.
ask Kansas City. I mean, just saying. But yeah, moving on over, we can move over to the tight ends now, which is there's actually 2 decent tight ends on this slate. I like to cover Tyler Conklin from the Jets. It does seem like Trevor Siemian at least does target him. 7.769. So yeah, it looks like he is definitely, especially if they're going to continue doing these little check down plays. Tight ends are typically great for that. And Tyler Conklin is a decent pass catcher as well. Obviously, the bread and butter I think of this slate is the Cleveland Browns tight ends, and Njoku is just on a tear right now. Last 3.
Finally. Yeah. I've been waiting on this.
Last 3 games has just been going off. He's had 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Dang near 10 targets each. Didn't get too many yards against Houston, but almost 100 yards in the previous 2. The Jets are, however, rated second against the tight ends, only giving up about 34 yards, 35 yards roughly. So they are pretty stingy, whereas Cleveland is, also stingy at 6, only giving up about 41 yards. So, great tight end game. Unfortunately, the defenses, are pretty prone to that. So, I like also. Sorry, I'm gonna bring up one more. Harrison Bryant sitting at 6,500. He hasn't done too much in the last 2 games, but against the Rams, he did go 5 for 5 for a touchdown. So in the last 3 games, in the last 4 games, 5 touchdowns have been to tight ends. 4 of them to Njoku, 1 of them to Bryant. So if that's any trend, there will probably be a touchdown to a tight end for Cleveland in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Obviously, Njoku, I'm surprised he's only 11,000 with how he's been playing and everything. That he'll definitely be chalky as well. But I mean, at 11,000, I almost don't know how to not play him. Just about. It's a matter of, do you put him at MVP or do you put him at the flex? And I definitely will have some Tyler Conklin. His snap count is showing that went up significantly. It basically doubled. Cleveland is allowing, over 50% more fantasy points to tight ends when at home. I'm into those type of stats. I don't know if y'all are out there, but I'm into the whole when they're in a dome, whether you're on grass, whether it rained 3 days before the game, all those things, make a small impact.
Then keep in mind it's supposed to rain in the morning, 50% chance to rain, and then be cloudy with 10 to 15 mile per hour winds.
Oh, okay. So
but the winds will they're either going to be kicking into the wind or they're going to be kicking with the wind. So it's not like a crosswind. So based on which half they're kicking, they might get screwed.
So right now, so we've pretty much covered the tight ends. I'm with you. Everything's good there. Like I mentioned, definitely I'll be overexposed to Njoku. I'll be overexposed to Conklin. And then I might sneak in, like you mentioned, like I might have a Harrison Bryant in 1 or 2 of my lineups. As far as that kind of brings us over to the defense and the kickers, it's showing me that both kickers are hurt on both teams and not giving me any other options.
Hopkins is officially ruled out now.
Oh yeah. So I see that's official with the hamstring, but then there's no replacement that Fanduel's giving me. I mean, unless they've officially added him, which I am not seeing.
I'm going all the way down. I don't even see. They'll probably. They haven't updated it yet.
So, because I was gonna definitely have access to one of the kickers at least. Let me get over to my sheet. Yeah, the Jets have been allowing basically two field goals a game to kickers. So that's a pretty big deal. Again, I'd like to see what kicker is coming in so I can make a decision on what his price is and who he is. So that'll be great when that information comes out. So kind of hard right now to discuss that. So I guess with that being said, the defenses, I definitely think this is going to be a defensive game. I will be overexposed to the Cleveland Browns defense. I definitely will have some Jets defense as well. I will have some lineups with both defenses on my lineup. This definitely seems like one of those types of games. So, what are your thoughts on? Obviously, unless you have any other info on the kickers, what are your thoughts on these defenses?
Yeah, defense. The Browns defense is projected 10 points. The Jets are giving up about 4 sacks a game. So if and Browns don't seem to give up too many points, at least the last 3 games. I mean, 27 against Jaguars, but they did get 4 turnovers in that game. They have a pretty high turnover differential on their games. So and with Trevor Siemian, I'm pretty sure he's going to be prone to throwing an INT or 2. Similar with the Jets. I mean, Flacco has 3 or 4 turnovers himself in the last 2 games. So there's potential there for the Jets to sneak up on it. Browns give up 3 sacks a game and about 1.5 interceptions over the course of the last 9 games average. So yeah, both teams are both not turnover proof. So, and their defenses seem to come away with it. So now Jets are projected 6 points to the Browns 10. That's why Browns are a little bit at 10K, which is really high for a defense, but it's going against the Jets. It's completely understandable. Hopkins, unfortunately, he was projected really high going in because Jets do give up quite a bit. He was projected, I think, 11 before the news, I guess, came out. He was out. So Zerline, he'd been doing pretty baller status here, 14, because I can see him getting down the field and then just stalling out. So he's pretty reliable there. However, Cleveland only allows about 1 field goal a game. So, barring whoever the kicker is, I might have a few for Cleveland. Unless it's like, Joe Schmo rookie or something, I might reconsider it. But if not to cut you off, but I am actually reading here that about Greg Zuerlein, and it says the Jets currently do not have another kicker on their 53-man roster or their practice squad. So the team would presumably sign one no later than Wednesday if there's truly any concern about his chances of playing Thursday. So they don't even have a one on their practice squad. They'll just get somebody to kick it. It's not like their season and they're already officially out. Why drop somebody? Other than that, I think that kind of wraps up our analysis of the players. So hopefully that did, and just keep your eye on the comments on this video, because I always update with injury news as it happens and things as it obviously changes from the time basically up to kickoff. So with that, let's go ahead and switch up over here to your lineup, and hopefully I have the right one. Solid.
Yep. Yep, that's looking about right. So this is the lineup I got to put into the $9 tournament. I will start off first by saying the negative things about it, which it is zeroed out. That is always the worst possible thing you can do in a large field tournament. It just so happened I just really like this lineup, to be honest. So basically, by going the Cleveland's defense at MVP, that's what is going to separate this lineup from, from a lot of other ones. I think their defense will probably be 30 to 35% owned in the flex. I'm hoping for the Cleveland's defense to be under 10% at MVP. Typically defenses are even lower than that, but I know people know how bad the Jets offense are and how good Cleveland's defense is. So I could see that MVP play being not as contrarian as I'd like it to be. Nonetheless, going down the line, I got Njoku. As you can see, I'm going 4 Cleveland and 1 New York Jet. I'm hoping Joe Flacco continues doing what he's doing, and I could see him throwing it to Njoku as well as Amari Cooper. I could see either Amari at least getting it down the field, and Njoku getting the TDs. And then, you have to pick a Jet. They force you. So I went ahead and went with Tyler Conklin. Every time I've been doing these Jets single game, I go to him. He just has been at least consistent. And he now with his snap count even going up, man, I could see him getting a couple extra targets, maybe an extra red zone target or 2. Every time if they're losing and it's late in the game, they seem to go to him when there's like 2 minutes left, 3 minutes, no matter how much they're down. It's like they just suddenly start throwing the ball to Conklin. Again, that wasn't Trevor Siemian doing that, so not fully sure what that's going to look like. But, with the snap count going up, that is who I got there. If I were to make any adjustments on this lineup, I do like to kind of throw that out there. I would take out Amari Cooper. That way I'd be able to leave some salary on here and actually put in someone like a Garrett Wilson. Because by doing that, I mean, that leaves 3,000 salary on there. So doing something like that would be, you're not tying with anybody with that lineup. So just something to consider. That obviously is more risky, but that's also saying it's going to be a little bit closer of a game, which to be honest, I don't even know. I don't know, man. The Jets offense has just been so bad. I feel so bad for Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall with what it's just been atrocious. So, I haven't seen it with Trevor Siemian yet. So, yeah, that's the lineup. I'll be locking that one in, and like I said, I will also be making a couple permutations. If you guys have any questions or comments on it, please leave those down in the comments, and I will make sure to respond to those. And I love talking about lineups, lineup construction, why I'm doing certain things. So please ask away with the questions. But what are your thoughts on the lineup overall, David, for the tournament?
Yeah, I second that. The Cleveland Browns. I think it won't be too much owned in the MVP spot. I think it'll definitely be owned, but it won't be too bad. So, yeah, the 0 kind of hurts, but other than that, I mean, obviously the players and how you're scripting it here, you're basically, Browns onslaught and Conklin kind of reaping the benefits of the terrible game that the Jets are probably going to have. I definitely a viable scenario. So it just, unfortunately, I just think it'll be very chalky. Just if you simply went like with the game log trolling because you have Njoku, Flacco, Cooper. So just those three players I think are going to be super chalk on this. I mean, but unfortunately, it's like as kind of got to. I mean, they're going to get the points. I went a completely different approach, and literally a completely different approach. So, but no, I think it's a good lineup. I'm really curious to see what you're going to say about mine here. So switching over, hopefully it's updated. Yeah, there it is, buddy.
Okay.
There it is. So, as I mentioned before, this is just pure base, obviously tournament. I would never enter this in a cash lineup. Like, we'll just put that in the air now. I'm basing it on just the pure simple fact that Trevor Siemian will probably be very low owned in the MVP slot. But if he does have a good game, that puts you that much farther ahead of everybody. Because I think he won't even probably be top 3 or top 4 MVP. Like, I mean, you got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Njoku, Flacco, Amari Cooper. I think everybody will probably be on the slate above Simeon and MVP. But I think if he does have a decent game, for some reason he does, and this is what I'm saying, I'm trying to give you that lineup that has that potential to make the up there. Will this probably hit? Obviously I hope so. But so then moving down, obviously with Trevor, I'm pairing him with Garrett Wilson, because it seems like Garrett Wilson had 15 targets, so how can I kind of avoid that? He's honing in on him. Not to mention Breece Hall had a monster game, even in the run game there, and he also had 16 targets. So if they keep the same script as Trevor Siemian, these little check down, maybe short 5-yard passes to Wilson, I'll take catches. Catches is 0.5. Every time someone catches in at 0.5, I'll take them. Give me 8 points just off targets alone, please. Like, I will take that. All day. So Zerloin, that's obviously the little ripple in the pond here. I'm going to keep my eye on the news there. However, based on if he does play, who his replacement is, I left 500 on the table. I don't mind that too much since it's a super low owned, I think, MVP. I have the option to basically switch Zerloin out with the Jets, which would basically zero the salary out, but I have that option, and I can guarantee you whoever probably replace Zerloin won't be over the 8,500 mark. So I can just do a 1-for-1 swap there. And then obviously going with Njoku, because I think he's one of the better pass catchers. Obviously, if I could pay up to Amari, I would have, but Njoku is a viable second option there as well. So, what do you think of this lovely lineup?
Yeah, definitely contrarian. Like you said, with Trevor Siemian, he can definitely have a game. He's one of those quarterbacks that can do that. So everyone, we both know it's mainly going to be, I'm sure, Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper as the MVP, like chalk central. So I like that. I like pairing him with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. That's definitely because Breece Hall is like a Debo or like a dude on Green, Jaden Reed, where they use him in those different type of plays where he does kind of run and stuff too. So it's kind of like having a running back and a receiver in there at the same time. So I like that. And then with Zerloin, as long as that injury, like you mentioned, Yeah, I mean, and you're basically saying the Jets are going to win. uh, Going 4-1 Jets, that is the definite wild part. I'd be interested to see if there's ever been a 4-1 lineup where like this was optimal, but Cleveland still somehow won the game by like a safety or something weird. But
it could be a
you
close.
know,
It could be a close game.
yeah.
It's just
Well,
obviously you would have to literally nail. It would have to be a close game, and only like I said, these 3 people or these 4 people get the fantasy points, right?
yeah,
You can't
'cause-
have Gibson in there. You
yeah,
can't have Brownlee. You can't have a backup. Right? Like these are the
right.
4 people that get all the fantasy points.
Because yeah, you and I have seen a couple weird, crazy lineups take first place.
Well,
I
I
mean,
was
like,
flirting with first for a while in the Ravens 49ers with the 4-1 Ravens.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I know, man.
uh,
Yeah,
but
unbelievable. Why'd you have to bring that back up?
but no,
But
with that, I
yeah,
mean, you'll probably be even more shocked once we do our predictions. So,
oh yeah. Let's. Oh, so
well,
yeah, man. I like the lineup. I'll be yeah. Go ahead and
yeah, moving on. Yeah, just let us know. Also, we would love to hear from you guys about your comments, your questions. You know, why do we do these things? We'd love to explain it more. So please leave any comments down below, and we'll answer any one, any kind of question you guys might have. So with that, before we typically get over here to our final predictions, David has another lineup, and I believe unfortunately nobody, including myself, hit the Christmas money. So I think we might.
I thought you were close for the Christmas money. I think I saw you up in the top 10. I saw that for a second.
Not first.
Yeah, but yeah, like we do every Thursday and Sunday night games. There will be a link in the description. All you have to do is click it. It's absolutely free to enter. It's only 100. It's only a 100-person tournament, so make sure to get there. It does tend to fill up pretty quickly. Put in your best lineup, and if your lineup is able to beat my lineup and beat David's lineup, and you take first place, obviously, then I will Venmo you. I'm going back down to the 100. I pumped it up there for the holidays. I tried to give you guys chances, and no one's been able to do it yet. So we are looking for our first winner. If that happens in this game, I might do something crazy and also throw in like a $150 gift card to Apple or something like that. So we'll see. I'm still in the giving mood. To end.
I'm not.
End
I'm not even gonna try to win if it's for Apple.
2023.
Just kidding.
So yeah, just make sure to check the link in the description. Put the lineup in, and again, if you end up winning, all you have to do is email us a photo showing that you like the video, that you subscribe, that you click the bell, and we will welcome you to the community with some money and some gift cards. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about those predictions, baby?
All right. Who's your MVP value? Your best value pick, and who do you have the overall game score?
So my MVP is gonna be the Cleveland Brown defense. Yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm going with a defense. The Jets offense has been too garbage for me to think otherwise. Cleveland's Browns defense MVP. It could also be a value play, to be honest, but and value play, man, I'm just gonna go back to my boy Conklin, the tight end for the Jets. I'm gonna go with Conklin as the value play at 8K. I think he's due. He's getting extra snaps. We got a different quarterback in there, so I think I can see them definitely linking up in the end zone. I know that kind of goes against me picking, the defense of Cleveland, but Cleveland can have 8 sacks and 2 defensive TDs, and it wouldn't matter how many points the Jets score. So those are my picks. And then I got the score. I got Cleveland winning this one. I got Cleveland winning this one like 24 to 24-13. I'll be nice, I guess. 24-13 Cleveland.
Nice.
Which
All
I
right.
believe I think that's the under. I think 24-13.
That's 37. It's over.
7. I guess. Oh, wow. Dang, I'm picking wow. Okay. I guess I am. That's what I'm going with.
All right. As far as myself, MVP, I think Flacco's going to take it. He's having a pretty good game. I don't think Amari Cooper's going to have another baller game like that. But yeah, I think Flacco will definitely probably be the MVP. Now everybody's like, "Oh, Flacco, you had Trevor Siemian." No. Who I want to be MVP is different who I think's going to be MVP. Okay? So I want Trevor Siemian to be MVP because it's pure ownership, and I want, that would set me up huge for that tournament. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but if it did, which is the tournament GPP way, it would be great. But yeah, Flacco for sure. And then going down to the value play, I'm going to have to go with probably Xavier Gibson or Elijah Moore. I'm going to say Xavier Gibson, just he's a little bit cheaper. He hasn't done too well, but I think they're going to be. I think both defenses are going to basically zone in on those wide receiver ones, Amari Cooper and Garrett Wilson. So the 2s and 3s, or wide receiver 2 and 3, are going to have to pick up the slack here, in my opinion. Going into the score, I think Browns will win 21-17. Browns will take it, giving a 38 for the over. I don't think anybody will do the 7-point spread. So
I would trust I wouldn't trust. I'm not trusting any spread on anything, or at least not with football. Yeah, man, definitely looking forward to this. I'm actually kind of excited to see this matchup now, to be honest. The battle of the defenses, the different quarterbacks. It'll be interesting because as we know, New York's been eliminated. I think we do see some of these other lower guys getting some looks because, New York wants to know what they have ready for next season. So don't be shocked if some of these $5,000, $6,000 players might suddenly is on the field for 20 snaps out of nowhere. So keep your eye on that. Follow the beat writers for each city. Is always a smart way to try to stay up on that type of news, who might potentially be getting some of those extra snaps. So.
Yeah, and with that, make sure please like, subscribe, leave comments. That's how we're going to grow and get this video out to more people. And it's a free, easy way to help us out, and much appreciated. Definitely, if you do subscribe, hey, let us know. Put down in the comments, hey, I just subscribed, and we would like to, reach out, welcome you in, and hopefully these breakdowns are providing you guys the information that you guys need. NBA breakdowns, single game, and maybe an after-hour slate here in the near future. As we
coming soon.
As we wind down the regular season NFL and start moving to playoff NFL. So with that, I have nothing else. Anything?
Yeah. Nope. I'm still riding high off that single game victory. I won the 10K with the Kings Celtics matchup. So that felt good to get a NBA win right before the holidays. put a little bit of extra money in the bank. So that was nice. And yeah, look forward to doing some of that NBA, getting some NBA videos out to you guys. So David and I will be working on that for sure. And with that, good luck to everybody with your lineups, and hope to see you guys at the top. Make that money.
Yep.